What's up, everybody? I'm sitting here chilling out at my house, sitting on my front porch. It's just such a nice porch. Check this out. It's just a nice place to sit and relax. And I said to myself, you know what? I said to myself, once I get settled in, I'm going to smoke me a cigar on my front porch because I can. And look, my fashion today is undeniable. Got my Ariat vest on it. Love you guys, but over there at Ariat in my pajamas. Come on, don't get no better than this. Oh, hey. Flip flops. Now don't be selling those pictures online. I'm sitting here overthinking, and one of the things I've been overthinking is this. I think it's amazing the more that we do our work, and I counseled people for 7 years in a non-for-profit, and I in the job that I have now in our business, I talk to people a lot, and I hear what they're saying. But it's just crazy to me that people seldom say what they mean. It's strange. It's like we're so busy trying to prove our point, or we're so busy trying to protect ourselves, we don't ever say what we mean. I think that's what used to upset people about me. And of course, I was always super harsh and critical when I'd give you my opinion, but I'd say what I meant. And usually if it's in here, it comes out here, right? And nowadays too, especially like when I speak my heart to people and tell them how I feel, I don't hold back anymore. And I think that's just because, when you get to a point to where you just don't care what people think anymore, you're going to tell them what you feel or what you think, and you're going to do it openly, but you got to do it in love. And I don't see a lot of that. I don't see a lot of people saying things like they think. I've been there at people's deathbeds, and they're like, there was this person that I never told I loved. Why? Why didn't you tell that person that you loved them? You see, we never say what we mean or what we think because we're so afraid of what other people are going to think or their reactions. I've met some of the bravest guys that would go into a bar and face down. I watched this dude face down 5 guys once, but he could not tell his buddies he loved them because he was afraid. He was afraid of saying what he thinks. I even catch myself doing it. And it's typically doing it with the people that I love the most. I hold back really what I want to say. And I think a lot of it is because of fear. A lot of it's because I don't love myself enough to fight for the things that I really want. And when I'm miserable, I don't say anything. But I'm there for everybody else. Well, why aren't I there for me? It's just a strange thing that I'm thinking through a lot. And I thought, if this whole platform that I'm on is about me struggling openly, I might as well tell you what I'm struggling with right now. And I'm struggling with the fact that in my business, we save lives, we save companies. We help people to lead on a higher level. We help companies trim the fat and understand chain of command in a finite level. And we help people lead on such a high level. And I listen to these guys, I coach these people, women too. And inevitably, when we come into a crossroads or a place where somebody is suffering, it's because they haven't spoke up on their needs, or they've spoken up about their needs in a way that lacks love. What's up, Brandy? I miss you. See, I said that. I didn't fear that. And I don't mind saying those things to people that I love. And I've just gotten to this place now more and more inside my own head is like, who have I not been open with? And why? And what's the fear? Honestly, what is the fear? Why is it even there? I think a lot of it comes from our childhood and imprinting. I miss you. Imprinting. And we get so pre-programmed as to think that our own thoughts, and I love you too, hon, our thoughts are not somehow valid. And our thoughts somehow need to be dismissed and not spoken of. But then what ends up happening is, and I've seen this time and time and time again. What's up, Jeff? I love you, buddy. Time and time and time again, when we don't talk about our needs and love, and we just keep staying in fear, we get bitter. And bitterness grows this insane root system inside of your soul. Now, if you're not a believer today, eat the meat and spit out the bones of what I'm saying, because I'm not trying to push a religion here. But I truly believe that forgiveness that Jesus has brought into my own life, I need to perpetuate out. And in that, helps me a great deal. And in prayer, relieves a lot of that fear, because I'm speaking openly to my Father who loves me. Now, for you, if you're not a believer, well, what does any of that mean? Well, I would suggest that it means looking into those nooks and crannies of your life and saying, hey, do I wait until that unmet need is so balled up inside of me that I explode and all this fear and anger comes out in the way that I'm saying it, and it never comes out in love? You see, because I truly believe that love is, as goofy as it sounds, love is truly the answer. You know, I've seen people just be so hateful the way they say things to people, and they'll be nice to people around them, like the people they are in community with. But when it comes to people's closest to them, like their family, their kids, their spouses, they're just awful to them. And they say the most horrendously awful things is because they lack love. You see, they don't love that person more than they do their own dysfunction. And I think that's one of the reasons why we explode, is because we feel like we're not being heard. And we have to ball up. We have to get into this emotional state just to speak up. But we don't want to take the time. We don't want to take the time to explain and talk through things like adults. And so instead we explode like a small child. You see, when kids are little, when they're in that infant stage or that toddler stage, they throw this fit. Everybody calls it the terrible twos. For both of our kids, it was more like the terrible threes. And at first it kind of shocked me with our first one, because she got through the twos, and then when she got through the threes, she got rowdy. Well, that's only because they're not throwing a fit because they're not getting what they want. They're throwing a fit because they've came to the end of themselves and they cannot communicate as an adult. That's one of the reasons why we never talk to our kids like, woo. Nah, I mean, we had some of that, but for the most part, we talked to them like adults, so that when they became a certain age, they would speak like adults. I'll never forget my youngest, Allie. She was sitting at a table at a restaurant, and the waitress came over, and they were asking everybody what they wanted or something. And Allie was so little, but she spoke to her in a clear, concise, full sentence. And because of that, the lady went, "Whoa," and it freaked her out. She said, "How old's your kid?" And I said, "She's 3. And she said to me, "My 3-year-old barely speaks words." Why? Because she reacted to that child in kind, like a child. I mean, if you really look at it, being an adult doesn't mean, when people say you need to grow up, I don't agree with that so much. I think you need to mature. I think that we need to keep that childlike wonder in us, because if we don't, we become bitter, hateful people. But I suggest that we need to know how to speak in love to people. When we learn how to speak in love, my goodness, we get so much farther with folks. I've built an entire practice on this. And I got someone here that understands that, who's been there with me for over a year, coaching. And I'd always speak things in love to him, and I'd watch this guy just grow. If I was hateful to him and spoke my mind like a lot of consultants and coaches do, I would suggest that he would not want to even be here on this live chat. He wouldn't want to. And the reason why he wouldn't want to is because I never spoke my heart in love. I would wait. I'd get all balled up and mad and make him think that he's got to hear my opinion or he's stupid. I have a client right now, and they have a firm, and these people are high intellectuals. Oh my gosh. They're engineers. They do big work. And this lady came out with an email and told the executive staff that if they didn't do things the way she wanted to do them and recognize it, they were stupid. You see, there's fear. That's not anger. See, anger is just the result of you feeling out of control. Control being an illusion because you don't have control over anything but your own actions. You can't control anyone else because when you try to control other people, that's called manipulation. And we manipulate out of fear. You see, it's all fear-driven. And she said, you're stupid if you don't do things my way. Well, that was just her way of trying to shame someone and control people and control the narrative. Why? Because she's terrified. And somewhere along the lines in her life, whether it was when she was little or in her marriage or with her parents, she was told that her feelings were invalid. And so she became stunted because she has absolutely no idea how to communicate her feelings other than anger, other than manipulation. I knew another lady that I dealt with for many, many years. And I'm going to be very frank here, guys. So for those of you who got the Christianese on, man, plug your ears. But she had a little husband. He's a little guy. And I swear he followed her around like a lost pup. She had so castrated him and manipulated him that he followed her around just in the hopes that his balls that she kept in a jar, she'd pull out of her purse and show them to him. Yep, you're still a man. Here they are. And she manipulated on every single level, this gal. She was backstabbing. She was mean. She was awful. And the community that she was in at some point decided, hey, you can't be here no more. We can't take this from you anymore. And she was so clueless as to why that was happening to her. Why? Because bless her heart, I found out later on in life, she was out of control of her life. And she was abused as a child. Look, we can choose to take that abuse and make it the chief cornerstone of our heart. Make it this banner, I was abused, I was abused, I was abused. Or we can recognize that and deal with those feelings. And a lot of times that takes a counselor or a guide or a coach to help you through that. It did me. When I found out my wife was pregnant with our first one, I went to counseling. And I went to counseling because I'm still throwing guys up against a wall. Here I am, 30-some years old, and I'm still bouncing dudes off the wall. I'm still smacking guys in the mouth and fighting, and now I've got a baby coming? Well, if I continued on in that narrative, what would I do to a kid when they weren't doing what I wanted them to do? I needed to get right. I needed to look within. We have dark places in our hearts and our souls and our minds, and those dark places aren't to be hidden. Look, we need to open the door to them, and we need to deal with them. And we learn to deal with them. We learn to deal with our emotions. I'm coaching a guy, and he just blows up. He says, I don't know why I do it. I'm like, and I've had to tell him, the reason why you blow, I don't have any control over it, but you can get control over it. You can get control over it. And it takes you wanting to. It takes you loving you and others more than the hurt and the pain. I know people that were abused in life, and they so refuse to move forward because they've become in love with the problem. And they don't even realize it. And they've had it so long, they don't know what they would do without it. It's given them a strength. I was the same way. Rage was my go-to. And what sucked is that not only was rage was my go-to, I was highly skilled with my hands. And I could hurt people very swiftly, very quickly. That's not living life as an adult. Yeah, if you're a soldier, that's one thing. It has its place in the battlefield, but not if you're some guy pumping gas at the gas station, right? Or if you're a father or a husband. What I've realized is too many people refuse to see the problems in others. They refuse to see the problems refuse to see the problems in themselves because they're always aiming at other people. They're always talking about everyone else and refuse to look in. I knew a guy and I couldn't stand him. He was athletic, had a beautiful wife, had beautiful kids, but just dismissed them all the time. Treated them like shit all the time. Was just mean to him. And I never understood why he was the way he was until I realized that in my past, I had actually met his father and knew who his dad was. And I thought that his dad was an unmitigated prick. He was just awful. He was mean to everybody. He talked about everybody behind their backs. He pointed fingers at everyone. And he was this self-righteous, just awful, judgmental person. And then it clicked. I was like, okay, I get it. And I always thought it's only a matter of time before that woman walks out on him. And she'll be vilified for it. She'll be vilified for it because they've got a family and she's going to be breaking up the family. But what was she supposed to do? He was miserable and he was a grown-ass child. A man who never grows up. Look, women, I'm going to tell you something. Beware the man who cares more about toys than he does you. Beware the man who sits there and just obsesses about video games. Beware the man who doesn't open doors for you and cherish you. Beware that man, because he's still a grown-ass child. A man who sits in front of the television all Sunday just to watch football, because he was once in football. He was once somebody. Beware the man who has no introspective. Beware the man who's quick to anger. Now, when we're young, I was all of those things. But the older I get, the less I need. And the older I get, the more I realize my life needs to be about serving others. And that's just for me, maybe not for you. And the more I serve others, the more it demands for me, the more I serve others on a higher level to look within. To look right here at this guy and to make sure I'm right. And I'm going to tell you, if you're looking for perfection when you're watching these videos I put up, I'm saying this all the time, you're looking at the wrong guy. I got more issues in Time Magazine, but I'm working at those issues and I'm self-aware. I'm working on those issues and I'm self-aware. Beware, men, the woman who is high functioning, loves to work, loves to do all these things, but dismisses you, your heart, and your needs. Beware that woman. Beware the woman who always has to be in control all the time. Because if she's unaware or refuses to be aware, she's probably never going to change. You see, this whole understanding and getting inside of people's heads like I do for a living is easy. And I'm going to tell you why. Because people only get into so many personality profiles. There's only so many. And they will act outside of those. They just don't know they can. I had a client one time who was just rude to everybody. And he didn't have a whole lot of friends at work and allies. After 6 months of working with this guy, one-on-one every week, he got a promotion from the big bosses up top because they recognized his efforts in such a short time. You see, one of his things is that he was constantly looking at this personality profile that he was given. and it was told that he was a type D. And he got this personality profile at work. And being a type D, said he didn't work well with others. He said it like he meant it. And he was just rude, and he was aggressive, and he was all those things. But it doesn't mean you can't change, because you're human. You have a mind to reason and to think and to grow and to do. You see, you are free. You are free, but you got to free this up. You can have all the muscles that you want, guy, in the whole world. Well, I knew a gal. She had more muscles than me. She competed in bodybuilding, and I'll tell you what, she scared me. But you can have all the good looks that you want. You can be attractive. You can be smart. But if you feel like you're a certain way and you can't change, you're not as smart as you think. You become trapped inside your own mind. This isn't for everybody, this journey. So many people want to say that they're savages. So many people want to say that they're warriors of life. So many people want to sit there and think highly of themselves. But when push comes to shove, they will not look within and face the darkness within, and that's what it takes. If you want to be the type of person that helps others and continues to grow and moves forward and builds that kind of legacy that will far surpass your legend, you want to be the type of person that inspires others to do the same, it starts right here. It starts in your soul. It starts in your mind. It starts in that ability to be able to love people right where they're at. Look, I've coached some of the most heinous, womanizing man whores. I have coached some of the worst, most narcissistic people and was able to get through them. And I was able to get through to them via love. And I was also able to get through to them because I could see a piece of me in them and what they were doing. And I recognized that behavior in me. Now, I might not have been full-blown narcissist doing some of the things that they were doing, but I could recognize it in me. Why? Because I did the work. I did the work in me. And that work never stops. That work never stops until you stop breathing, until you stop sucking air. You see, life is so much bigger than just getting things, because that endeavor, you can't ever get enough. Look, I had 31 acres and I wanted 131. And I guarantee you, if I had 131 acres, I would want 431 acres. And if I got 431 acres, I would have wanted 4,031. It was never enough. Now, I think we've got maybe an acre and a half, and we live in a pretty spread out neighborhood, but a neighborhood nonetheless. And I'm happier than I ever have been in my whole life. Because my life, once I started to realize that things weren't going to make me happy, once I started to realize I needed to start doing the work, oh my gosh, my life completely turned around and changed. My career changed, my career path. I was more useful to people, and I progressed so quickly. Now, I believe a lot of that was because of the favor of the good Lord and me seeing grace. The amount of grace he's given me has been tremendous, and I need it, and I need to dole it out to others. I feel the weight of that every day, and I'm so grateful to my Lord for that kind of grace. Now, listen, eat the meat and spit out the bones of what I'm saying. I'm not preaching a religion here. I'm preaching an ideology to help you to understand if you're stuck, if you're in the mully grubs, if you feel like you're not moving forward like you need to, it's time to look within. It isn't about the boss that didn't push you forward. It isn't about the ex-husband, the ex-wife. It isn't about any of those things. It isn't about what you don't have or what you're not. That you were never athletic enough or good looking enough. God, if I focused that on not being good looking enough, by golly, this guy would have never gotten a wife, because I have never thought that I was some handsome, good looking guy. I always had handsome friends, but they were such losers because they focused so much on their looks. And I knew one day I'm going to look like I do now. Old. So I've never been a good looking guy. I always thought, teachers told me, I had teachers tell me I was dumb. If I sit there and believed those things, If I sit there and didn't do the work, I would just accept it and live that way. So many of you have just accepted life. You've just accepted it. You just said, this is my lot in life. I guess this is as good as it's going to get. No, it can get greater. Your good can go to great pretty quickly. You just got to get your head wrapped around facing you. Talking to people in love and loving people and serving people and loving yourself more than you do the hurt and the dysfunction inside of your heart, inside of your mind. Guys, there's so much bigger than this life, than what you see. There's so much more. There's so much more. Remember when you were little? Remember how you could enjoy things? It's refreshing, Jeff, just to know that you're here, buddy. Thank you for that comment. But remember when you were little? Remember how you could just enjoy life? Remember how things smell different? Remember how you'd go outside and you could smell the dew? And the spring smelled different, and the fall smelled different, and how excited you get. You know, we got Halloween coming next. You know, a lot of kids go trick-or-treating. You were so excited you could feel it. But when you got older, you had to have more stimuli. We do this, and for youngins, plug your ears, but we do this in our sex lives. As if to say that everything has to get more intense just for us to enjoy it. No. No. You know, I met a man one time, and I loved him, and he's passed away. He became a good friend to me, and he's a very wealthy man. And he had a Corvette collection so big he had to keep it in an airport hangar. And he was miserable. He said, I'd give all my millions away. He said this to my wife, I'd give every dime I have away if I could just have an ounce of the joy you seem to carry on a daily basis. Now that's a guy right there carrying the weight of yesterday. That's a guy right there who just didn't look within. That's a guy right there who just didn't recognize that he needed to do the work within. There's so much more peace on this side of it, guys. Now, sure, I have days where there's a lot of turmoil. I have days where I have to battle turmoil. I have to battle different things, just like any of us, but it doesn't last as long. And it doesn't take so much of my heart and mind. Why? Because I'm doing the work. I've met 80-year-old men, still cussing, still saying the N-word, still aggressive, still mean to everybody around them, and they wonder why no one wants to be around them. It's because they've not done the work. They might have been willing to work hard, but they were never willing to look in here because they were too scared. And that's okay. I was there. I understand. It's okay to be scared. Bravery has nothing to do with you not feeling fear. Bravery has everything to do with you feeling fear and doing it in spite of it. And it don't always look good. Sometimes life looks like looks like a dough on ice. And I don't know if you've noticed, but that's not a good combination. Them slick hooves, those knobby legs are great for running up mountainsides, but they're shit for being on the frozen water. But at least you're doing it. At least you're facing you. At least you're trying to grow and be more. You see, I truly believe the secret to this life about being more and having more has nothing to do with seeking money. I have coached millionaires and billionaires, and I'm going to tell you, they're some of the most miserable, unhappy people I've ever met. And one of the reasons for that, they never did the work, my friends. They never looked within. They never got a coach. They never went to get counseling. Or they were so in love. They were so in love with the pain of the past, they were too afraid to let go of it. Look, guys, I told a client one time who talked awful about himself. He was a really good dude. He tried really hard for everybody. He hated himself. And I asked him about his childhood and found out his dad was very verbally abusive from the moment he came out of the womb until he left the house. And I said, you know what's crazy to me? He said, what's that? I said, brother, You left an abusive situation, and because mentally there was a power vacuum there and you no longer had that voice abusing you, you became your own abuser. And you started believing all of those things that were spoken over you. And you started to speak them out like, I'm just dumb. I'm an idiot. I'll never amount to anything. Nothing's ever enough for me. Nothing's ever good enough for me. Nothing. He was just speaking over those same words that were spoken to him when he was young. My friend, being a cycle breaker is hard, but it's a heck of a lot better than perpetuating those same words into the lives of your children. It's a heck of a lot better. I'm telling you, a heck of a lot better than perpetuating that same evil onto other people. What I found out was the more violent I was, the more mean I was, the more violent and mean people I met, the more negativity that I ran into. But the more I began to love people, the more I began to understand grace and humility and servanthood, the more others served me, the kinder more people came to me. It's like a magnet. If you want to believe in the universe, let me tell you something. Or the banana you ate this morning, either way, the universe has a way of bringing these things back to you. And I believe that God, for me, it's God. And the more that we're humble, because God resists the proud, the more that we're humble, not weak. Okay, I'm not saying weak. But the more we humble ourselves and look within, the more we understand the grace that's been given to us and how messed up we are, the more we see it in others and more we have the opportunity to help others through it and be there for them. The more we do the work, the harder we work at doing the actual work of looking within, my friends, the more the dynamic of our life changes. The more we're more childlike. When we were kids and we could enjoy things, we begin to enjoy and relish things even more. You know what? I've been to the finest restaurants there is. I have schmooze clients. I have paid $7,000 on a booze bill in an hour for clients. Okay? I know what that's like. All right, I've eaten the best steak in this country has to offer. There isn't a better one. And they never made me happy. But the other night, I'm with my wife for her birthday at a Thai restaurant, and I could not have been happier. It wasn't an expensive meal. It wasn't fancy. We're just sitting there at a Thai restaurant, and I could hear the music. I could hear people's laughter, and I enjoyed it just like I did when I was a little kid. Why? Because I'm freeing my mind up. You see, when we don't do the work, our mind doesn't let go of it, and it's constantly trying to figure it out for us. And it sucks all the life out of life. And if you're a person who's not doing the work, you blame everybody else for it. It's either going to be the husband, the wife, the weather, God. So many of you are mad at God. It wasn't God that hurt you. It was man. God never hurts you. God loves you. God loves you so much. So your choice that I'm going to leave with you, the thing I'm going to try to pour into you tonight is this. As my cigar is getting low and I want to enjoy and relish the last little bit of it and hear these crickets and this cool breeze, do the work. Look within. Stop complaining about everything else in this whole world and start looking at you. Get the help that you need mentally so you can move forward and stop carrying these things. Stop realizing, like me, you got more issues than Time Magazine, and that's okay. That's okay. We're all messed up. The more you're going to speak in love, the more you're going to be able to speak your mind, and the more you're going to receive the needs that have been neglected for so long, because when you're talking about them, they don't come across in hate and anger. They come across in love. I'm 50 years old. I'll be 51 this December 21st. First day of winter, I think. The longest day of darkness. I was born a minute after midnight. And I've realized the more I love people, the more love I get back. You guys, you're carrying the weight of something that you don't need. All that hate, all that anger, you don't need it. It's not protecting you, it's eating your soul, and it's causing you to not enjoy and relish life on the level that you could. I love you. If you haven't heard it from someone this week, look, I love you. And I can say that. I love you right where you're at, because I know if God can love this man, after all I've done, after all I've been through, after all the stupid things I've said and put out into the world, by golly, I sure can love you, and I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. I'm so proud of you for trying to keep going and keep striving, keep moving forward. Guys, the more hate and anger you put out in the world, the more you get. But the more love, the more wisdom you seek, the more you do your work in here and open those doors to those dark places and get the right help to get through it, the right guide to help you through it, there's no end of what you're capable. You will build a legacy that will far surpass your legend. And because of that life you live and lead, you will inspire others to do the same. And my friends, that's how we change the world. Now, I'm going to enjoy this cigar on my front porch, and my neighbor across the way here has his house decked for Halloween, and I'm going to tell you, I don't think you could see it from my camera here, but it is awesome. And I'm going to sit here and look and enjoy it. Good night, guys. I love you.